Here's how this hot mess is unfolding. Just a week after Diddy's arrest, it feels like the whole hip-hop world is crumbling. And guess who's ready to throw more fuel on the fire? Nicki Minaj. Right after it was announced that Kendrick Lamar would be headlining the Super Bowl halftime show, fans, especially those from Young Money, went off, saying there are artists way more deserving of the spotlight than Kendrick. And the heat isn't just about Kendrick not being good. It's more like some legends like Lil Wayne, Nicki, and Drake have done so much over the years and deserve to be celebrated, especially with the Super Bowl taking place in Lil Wayne's hometown. Right after that, Nicki's fans started coming for JayZ, claiming that he's the one pulling the strings and deciding who performs. Fans thought it was only right for Lil Wayne to take center stage given his impact. Fast forward a bit, and Diddy gets arrested in New York for sexual assault charges. And just when you think things couldn't get crazier, Nicki Minaj starts dropping tweets, which many believe are aimed at JayZ. Could it be that she and Young Money were sidelined for the Super Bowl concert? Nicki certainly seems to think so, and she isn't being subtle about it. Now, while the feds are digging into Diddy's case, more names might be getting dragged into this scandal. We're talking about anyone involved in Diddy's infamous freak sessions and those who had any connection to his wild behavior. And from what Nicki's been saying, it kind of feels like she's suggesting JayZ might be involved too. She's going full throttle on Twitter, and between the lines, it seems like she might even be willing to work with the feds to spill more tea. Nicki kicked things off by explaining how JayZ allegedly scammed artists like herself, Kanye, Rihanna, and others, after selling Tidal to Jack Dorsey, Twitter's former CEO. She didn't hold back, posting, "I received a call advising Tidal was sold and they made no money on the deal, so all they could offer me was $1 million. But wait, there's more. The lawyer advised that Desiree advised him that I had to sign the agreement in 24 hours if I wanted the $1 million or the offer was off the table. Listen to the end of fractions for what my response was." Then she followed up with another. "So Barbs, thank you for supporting something I was a part of. I love you, but I was scammed and offered $1 million to be silenced. I declined. The grace of God is sufficient. I didn't need their hush money." And just when you think things couldn't get any juicier, Nicki reposted an image that revealed the 16 co-owners of Tidal reportedly received an $8.9 million payout. The post featured Beyonce, Kanye, Rihanna, and of course, Nicki Minaj herself, but she wasn't having it, responding, "Oh, reportedly, huh? Lol, y'all am really laughing at how people who aren't really smart always believe they are outsmarting smart people. No, it's just that we know karma spins. It really spins." Despite all the shade, Nicki didn't stop there. She posted another tweet that hit even harder. "Every day a new man pushing 60 years of age gets fingered in the bussy, then made to come on this internet and lie on me. God is in control." Bookmark this. I'd advise y'all to never mention my name again. And if you think this isn't juicy enough, Nicki took things to a whole new level. And from what it seems, Nicki was really ready to get down to the Diddy type shit, using all those including JayZ, who apparently was involved in some of the freak-offs. Now, Nicki, who apparently felt like she was being called out after a post suggested she never signed a contract by JayZ offered her, now the post in question, which word, quote, "You see how these people lie? Less than a week ago, Cameron and Maze told us that JayZ was lying about them not signing paperwork. Then yesterday, Jay sent his mouthpiece Steve Stoute to claim Nicki didn't sign the paperwork? Come on, man." Now, Nicki responded to this saying, "First time hearing about this. All allegedly, though." Now, Nicki came back hard, posting, "They gotta keep the conversation on me so that no one asks about these charges against their BFF. I mean, it seems the 30-year-old tea here is far from stale. Patterns. Yet. Say yes. The Alien, Stoute, Breath, etc. all talking about Onika? Why are they talking about Oniqua?" Again, Nicki went as far as saying, "The first time you catch me in a lie, delete all my music." When a user posted something about brunch and baby oil, Nicki threw some serious shade, worried about the tea of a 15-year-old child who was railroaded but no comments on the tea and baby oil that's been going on for decades, and as recent as months ago. If 15-year-olds need to be held accountable and told they can't ever move past their past, then what about the 30-year-olds who groomed and groomed, sat by and was silent, etc.? Oh right, let's keep the blogs focused on Oniqua. Short and stout. Don't want to talk about him, friend dem? Laugh my ass out, not holding back, right? Nicki kept firing back on X, even taking direct aim at JayZ's circle. Undercover men are always aggravated with women because they have decided that they can't live in their truth. Therefore, women who have done nothing wrong to them are made to pay for simply existing. Fix it, Jesus. enough is enough. She added another, "We want to know if you were present during abuse of teenagers and children. That's what we want to know. You can't taste my stop." Aaliyah, Foxy, etc. during R. Kelly videos, shoots and stuff? Did you know about the abuse to Kim Porter and Cassie? Y'all seem to always run in a sorta rat pack. So that's what we the PPL want you and your peeps to speak on. Bald head, bowling ball. Oh. And she wasn't done. Nicki even threw down a challenge. If any of those 4 CS I named would like to shoot the fair one with a gangster, I'll run the winner of the fight $10 million. Until then, watch that karma spin. As if the drama wasn't wild enough, Nicki clapped back at her fans too, one of whom said, "Nicki, you finna get us barbs started, and once we start," to which Nicki replied, "That's why I tell these people to leave me alone." But no, they'd rather play. Now, Nicki goes on to reply to fans' comments, one of which read, "A bunch of dogpiling a black woman. Sounds like you've got a lot of power, ma'am." And Nicki replied, "To God be the glory." Again, she goes on to reply to a fan who posted, "I agree. Like, why am I expected to care about something that happened when I was 1 year old? Let's address what's happening right now. As in Tuda." And Nicki replied, "Bingo! I was expected to answer for something that happened or didn't happen when I was 10 years old, when I was minding my business in school. Well, we want to know what y'all was doing at 30 years old to 60 years old." And finally, as if to seal the deal, Nicki responded to a tweet celebrating her surpassing JayZ to become the 6th longest charting rapper on Billboard with a single word, "moo." So where does this go from here? No one really knows, but a lot of people seem to want JayZ to fall. And with Nicki hinting at some dark secrets, it's hard to tell who's safe. The feds are watching closely, and it sounds like Nicki is ready to dish out all the tea. Hollywood is getting messier by the day, and the cleanup is far from over. Who's next? We gotta ask Cat Williams what he knows, because it looks like things are just heating up.
Do you know the story from 2001 when a young Ashton Kutcher got stood up on a date, and then the next morning that girl had been murdered? And you remember how Kanye said that they couldn't control him because he ain't never killed no one? And listen, I'm not accusing Ashton Kutcher of murder or anything else. I'm just saying there might be a lot of skeletons in his closet. And this story is pretty weird. And it was a crazy unsolved murder case from the start, but then just last year, a new spicy detail dropped that is just tinfoil maximum. So on the morning of February 22nd, 2001, Ashley Elleren's roommate got home from a night out and found her murdered, stabbed to death 47 times on the floor of the home that they shared. She called police, obviously, and they started investigating. And then they got a call from Ashton Kutcher freaking out because he said, "My fingerprints are going to be on that door handle and I need to explain what happened." Remember, this is way back when he was just a few seasons into that 70s show and he had just starred in Dude, Where's My Car? And what Ashton told police at the time is that he had met her a week before at a party at her house. They'd been acquaintances and they decided to go on a date. They had a date scheduled for 8 p.m. on the 21st. They were going to go out to a Grammys after party, but then he went to his buddy Christy Swanson's house to watch the Grammys, and he wound up watching the Grammys through 8 o'clock, and he called her and was like, "Hey, I'm going to be late at 8:24. She said no problem. She had actually just gotten out of the shower and she was going to blow dry her hair. She would speak to him soon. So then an hour and a half later at 10 p.m., he called her to let her know he was on his way, but she didn't pick up. So he redialed her a couple times. She didn't answer, and he eventually showed up at 10:45, more than 2.5 hours after their date was supposed to start. He arrived at her house and knocked, but the door was locked. He couldn't get in. He tried the handle. And so he looked in the window and he says he saw what appeared to be a red wine stain on the carpet. "I didn't really think anything of it," he said. And then he left, thinking he had been stood up. They never investigated him. He was not a suspect. They didn't take any DNA from him. The case went unsolved for 7 years. But it gets even weirder when you find out that the apartment manager of Ashley Elleren's apartment, who is an aspiring actor, said he was having a sexual relationship with her, consensual, and he was in the house when Kutcher called. He said he was just hanging out with her from about 7 to 8 p.m. on the night when this chick is about to go to a Grammys after party with Ashton Kutcher. She's just hanging out with her apartment manager, And then at some point she went and took a shower while he was still there. And then, remember, she said she just gotten out of the shower and was gonna blow dry her hair when Ashton Kutcher called her at 8:25 p.m. And then, shortly after her shower, things turned physical. He doesn't, just one thing led to another, and it was mutual. And then they, did the thing for about 15 minutes, and then he left her apartment shortly after because he was expecting his own girlfriend to get home. He kind of got the phone call timing wrong. He said it was at 8:15 that the call happened, then they were like, no, it was 8:24. And he's like, yeah, okay, I must have left later. He also had a fresh cut on his arm that detectives noted in a report. Never gets explained in the various reporting I could find. When the defense attorney questioned the apartment manager, said, did you ever tell police that Miss Ellerin was trying to conquer you? Weird language. Just that she was very attracted to me and that she wanted me to be a part of her life. Also weird language. And then, when the defense attorney asked if the apartment manager had ever spoken to his then girlfriend, now wife, about this infidelity, he says, we never discussed it. So you continue to lie to her all these years? No, Durbin replied quickly. But you never discussed it? But you didn't lie? But in all the looking I could do through all the different media reports that happened on this relatively high profile case, I didn't find anywhere that they mentioned taking DNA samples from the semen. And the case went unsolved for 7 years, despite Ashton Kutcher being there with a pretty shaky alibi as to why he wasn't there earlier when he said he would be there and only showed up later because he was hanging out at his Hollywood friend's house. And despite this other dude that had a key to the apartment having admitted to consensual sex with her right as she was supposed to be going on a date with this other actor, no DNA tests, no investigation apparently. And then 7 years later, in a different town, in a different state, this guy named Michael Gargiulo gets arrested for this other murder attempt, where in 2008, this woman was sleeping in her home and she was stabbed in her bed. She testified that she managed to fight off her attacker by grabbing the knife blade with both hands and was able to kick him off of her. And at some point in the struggle, he cut his wrist, leaving a trail of blood on her bed and in the alley on her way out. And as he ran out, she recalled the man saying, "I'm sorry," as he ran away. Here is some MK Ultra tinfoil for you. The defense attorney for him claimed that Michael Gargiulo was in an amnestic state when he attacked Murphy and couldn't remember hurting her, and he had regained his senses while still in her apartment, hence the apology as he ran out. They apparently found a blue surgical booty with a few drops of Bruno's blood on it outside of her front door, and then they say that they found a bunch of other identical blue surgical booties in the suspect's attic. And so they caught him for this other murder in 2008, and then he started getting tied to all these other stabbings in other places nearby to where he had lived in the past, despite not actually having any forensic evidence tying him to the scenes other than circumstantial and witness testimony that came forward later. Michael Gargiulo actually used this as his defense. He basically gave up and said, I know the evidence is much stronger with Michelle Murphy. That's the elephant in the courtroom. You have to judge each case separately. So he basically said, yeah, we know he kind of did the last murder. What I'm saying in court today is that he's getting tied to all these other murders with no evidence. No physical evidence, no DNA, no fingerprints, no hair samples were found tying Gargiulo to the scene in the Ellerin case. And the case didn't even wrap up until 2019, when Ashton finally took the witness stand about this murder that happened all the way back in 2001. And then just last year, a really weird detail got dropped when Ashton and Mila's friend, Danny Masterson, got convicted of multiple rapes and sentenced to 30 years to life in prison. Remember that 70s show? And they wrote these amazing letters about how great of a guy Danny was, trying to get his sentence reduced, along with like 30 other Hollywood people. The letters got leaked, there was huge backlash, and one of Danny's ex-girlfriends / rape victim posted to her Instagram story something super spicy. It has mostly been scrubbed from the web, but you can find all sorts of people that refer to it and they all agree on what it said. So this is a direct quote. "Dear Ashton, I know the secrets your role model, Danny Masterson, keeps for you. Ones that would end you. Did you forget I was there? You were on speakerphone that night you called Danny on February 21st, 2001. I heard everything. I heard the plan. In my opinion, you're just as sick as your mentor. She alleges that Kutcher called his team of publicists and Danny Masterson on the night of that murder before calling police the next day.